see, it's already a very special day today because we have a 991.2 GT3 in the garage, keeping this little guy company for a couple of evenings. He doesn't usually get a brother that he recognizes, even this one being a little brother, so I hope they have enjoyed the companionship. Unfortunately, the companionship has to come to an end, at least for now, because we are going to take this lovely Miami Blue GT3 to the beach. And as we go down there, we'll have a little talk about what's cool about the car, why it's worth the price that they charge for it, and probably maybe a little bit more, to be honest. And also maybe some of the differences between this one, which is a little older, and you know, the latest and greatest from Porsche. And we'll go for a drive and talk about some stuff. Alright, so we begin our journey to the beach, and as we begin, let's talk a little bit about I guess first impressions. I mean, this car's a 991.2 6-speed GT3, carbon ceramic brakes, no half cage, but it has the carbon fiber bucket seats. Interior wise, I mean, it's just fantastic. Like, it's, I mean, you know, the interior is very, you know, you're gonna feel pretty much at home if you've been in any 991, 911 at all. But obviously, being a GT3, everything's just a little bit nicer. You know, you have a lot more Alcantara. You've got a beautiful Alcantara steering wheel, shifter Alcantara roof. We got full leather in here. It's just beautiful. I mean, the seats are probably the real standout as far as the interior is concerned. These carbon buckets, you know, very, very stiff, very firm. Feel like you could do, you know, definitely take them on the track. You wouldn't need track seats. You would just, you know, put, you know, 6-point harness and kind of go from there. So, yeah, beautiful seats. I think that's really the standout of the interior. Everything else is fairly standard, again, except for, I guess, a bit more Alcantara and, you know, this steering wheel. One of those steering wheels where you really want to be careful with it. They tend to wear pretty easily, so, you know, it's one of those cars where you wash your hands like every single time you come in. You don't want to get any oils, any of those oils from your hand on it, because yeah, it does wear. But in its form right now, where it's like brand new, oh my gosh, it's perfect. Okay, so yeah, interior is lovely. Now the drive itself, you know, I drove it kind of yesterday, and I mean, it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful driving car. Like, everything's perfect. Everything is so precise. All the driver inputs, you know, there's like a direct connection, a direct correlation between what you do with your hands, what you do with your feet, to what happens to the car. I mean, the steering is telepathic. I mean, you want to go somewhere, you just point and shoot, it goes right there. Super direct. You know, it's got a nice weight to it. Obviously, being an electric rack, like, it doesn't have the, you know, super touchy-feely sensations that you get from a hydraulic system. So, you know, feels like a bit of a cliche at this point. We've heard, you know, a lot of motoring journalists talk about it, but I mean, you know, when you come from a you know, like a 997 like hydraulic system, it just feels more tactile. It feels like you're kind of touching the road with your hands, which sounds a little silly, but you know, it is different. As far as directness, though, you can't really you know, say anything bad about this electric unit. It's super precise, but just less touchy-feely. So it's kind of more like, hey, what do you like, you know? I tend to prefer hydraulic, but again, less is more to go wrong, right? Hydraulic systems fail all the time. I mean, 997 GT3s, those power steering hoses, like, they do leak, you know, you don't have those kind of problems with this. So, and plus, you know, it's a more energy, you know, more green to go electric. So, you know, you get why Porsche are doing it. But yeah, maybe you're missing out a little bit on touchy-feely. Okay, so steering is fantastic. We got to talk about the 6-speed, you know, right? Because it is you know, you buy a 6-speed GT3 for a reason, and yeah, it's fantastic. Like, of course it's going to be good. I would say that the gates are super notchy, like super crisp. Like, there's no fishing for gears. Like, I mean, it's probably the best 6-speed from the factory that I've ever driven, in that it's short throw, very notchy, and just clicks into place. Where I do take issue with it is, like, for me, I personally, like, I feel like it's a little light. Like, I'd like to have it a little heavier. One thing about these GT3s, I don't really know why, but they come with, like, it's a plastic. I mean, it's a plastic. It's a plastic little gear shifter here. I don't know why they wouldn't just make it billet aluminum, and, you know, that would bring some weight and some heft to the gear change. I really don't understand. A $200,000 car, you can't make a shifter, and these things can tend to deteriorate and kind of come off because it's just a plastic piece over time. But that's a obviously very small gripe. Otherwise, the shifter is fantastic. As I said, probably the best 6-speed I've ever shifted. I mean, crisp, short throws, very easy to use, and rewarding. Like, very, very rewarding. Like, you know, it's a joy. It's a joy to operate. Engine, obviously, you can't really explore the engine too much on the street. You know, you could maybe do like a little pull in like second, but by the time you get to 7-8K on the tack, you're doing well over the speed limit. So what do you do there? You're done. So, but engine, of course, is spectacular. Once you get it up there, it does sort of overwhelm the experience. You know, it just takes over. I mean, your whole world just changes as you get put into this you know, time warp, where you get catapulted from wherever you were to your new place in the world. So yeah, it's quite spectacular. It just rings. I mean, I think the red line is officially 8250 on this, but it will ring out to 9. So the tops out. Okay, I should get this right. It tops out power-wise, horsepower-wise at 8250, but it will ring out to 9. So it'll hold, if not just, you know, dip a little bit all the way to 9. So it rings and it goes and it pulls, and it doesn't feel like it's gonna stop. Like, it's just gonna hurl you into the horizon. So yeah, engine spectacular. What's interesting to me is, you know, coming from my car, which obviously it's a built motor, you know, and it's, you know, has a, you know, it's tuned differently. But this car's so happy, like, at every RPM. I mean, you could be chilling in traffic at 20, 25, 30 miles an hour, and it's perfectly happy. Perfectly happy, doesn't seem to complain, you know. So for an engine to be very happy at 1500 RPMs, you know, just idling almost, and then also happy at 9000 is pretty wild to me. I mean, it's a real feat of engineering, because to have that broad spectrum of you know, application, I think is just a testament to the amazing engineering that they've done. Super responsive. The throttle is, I mean, it's so direct. Like, the response is fantastic. It's like, bam, you know, you've got, you know, exactly, you feel like you know exactly how much torque you're sending to those rear wheels, which on the track is actually really important, because when you're progressively trying to, you know, apply the throttle, apply power as you're exiting a corner, you know, you like to know exactly how much power you're putting down, because if you overdo it, obviously, you know, you can send too much power and then you get slip, and Now you have to come off the power to control the slip. So, you know, you definitely, the naturally aspirated, I guess, is what makes for the best track engines because of that throttle response. And it's nice, obviously, that Porsche still use the naturally aspirated for their cars, because the turbo cars, while they often, you know, do drive naturally aspirated these days, that's how far they've come. They still, you know, it's still a lot of torque to send to the wheels, which can be difficult to manage. So, and of course the noise. I mean, the noise is fantastic. It's got a sports exhaust here. Probably won't be able to hear it too much in the cabin, but sports exhaust, and yeah, it sounds great. Like, you know, obviously I think you'd want to open up the pipes a little bit and maybe put a box that it wasn't so restrictive. But for a factory unit, yeah, I think it sounds really good. You know, maybe missing a bit of the magic of the Mezga, but again, you know, that's the special engine, so I don't think you're ever going to recreate that noise. They obviously trying to go for something different, but again, very rewarding when it gets into that 7,000 to 9,000 range. Not that I've done it in this car, but I've heard it on other videos, and you know, you just get that, you know, in Joe Rogan's words, a demonic wail, you know, and it's pretty spot on, and that you know, it's pretty addictive as well. So obviously you can't really explore that too much on the street, but on the track, oh wow, what a sound, what a feeling. It just like goes into your chest cavity, like it just goes straight into your bones, and I don't know if there's much like it. So yeah, engine is quite special. I think the trans is special, the steering obviously special, and that brings us into, I guess, the chassis. You know, that's as the trend goes, you know, as we get more evolved and more better in our production of these cars, of these sports cars, just get stiffer, right? If you have a stiffer car, you have a better handling car, some more responsive cars, some more connected cars. So this is no different. This is the stiffest 911 I've ever driven, apart from mine maybe, because it has a cage. But extremely stiff chassis. It feels like it's milled from one piece of steel. You know, you don't feel like it's, you know, different parts of the car that they put together in the factory. You feel like it's absolutely just one unit. It's super, super together, super solid. Yeah, it feels fantastic. It feels very new, in that way, very modern. I think, you know, when I come out of the M Coupe again, which is a car from, you know, sport, you know, the M Division's, you know, two-seater from 2007, you know, that car with a cage, you know, does have some flex, you know, relative to this, and only when you jump into this you realize how that it has flex, because when I jump into that car normally, I'd be like, wow, this is super stiff, like it's hitting bumps hard. When you turn, it seems like there's no flex in the chassis whatsoever, but then you jump in this and you take a corner and you realize, oh, actually there is, because this thing just isn't flexing. So again, you know, you're going to have a nice experience on the track when you're really pushing it, because you're not going to have to calibrate or adjust for that flex in the chassis, because you're getting the directness and the connectedness of you know, what the stiffness that this is bringing to the equation. So stuck in a bit of traffic here on 95. You know, I guess the other thing I want to say is really just how compliant and easy to drive this is. You know, the suspension keeps the car very, very flat, and, you know, composed. But at the same time, you know, when you go over a bump, like, it accepts the bump. Like, it just accepts the bump. You know, you don't feel like you've just had your teeth knocked out, which is very much what it feels like in my BMW. Again, that's set up for the track, but again, it's kind of like, it's just kind of the datedness of the suspension technology. I mean, you know, back then, like, stiff, like, you had to go stiff to get performance, whereas now you can have stiff and performance, but you also have the compliance, which is, you know, which is kind of amazing. Again, a testament to the engineering. And that goes to, you know, the next part of this conversation, which is to say like how easy this thing is to just live with. I mean, GT3s are not cars that have generally been easy to live with. I mean, you know, even up till the 997, you wouldn't daily that car. Like my neighbor has a 997 GT3, the Gen 2 997.2, so 2010, and I was just talking to him, and I mean, we both agree, like, you're not gonna daily your 997. Like, it's just not. It's too rough. It's too difficult to maneuver around in traffic. It's heavier to shift. The clutch is heavy. You know, steering is heavier. Like, everything just takes more effort. The engine's not as happy as idle. You know, the clutch is more difficult to engage. It's just more of a pain in the butt, you know, to drive on the regular roads. Like, it wants to be going pretty much full pelt. That's when it comes alive, and it's the trade-off that you had to make back then. Or I guess maybe they just made it, but you know, where you reward the track limit driving experience, but you take away from the daily driving experience. And it's like, okay, well, that's a fair trade, because I bought the car not to daily it anyway. I didn't buy it to street drive. I drove it to track drive it, right? Whereas this car, it's kind of the other way. I mean, they've made it so easy. It's like, it's so much easier to daily. The steering is light. The clutch is super light. It feels like similar to a GTI. Although the engagement is a lot nicer. Shifting is easy, you know, and it's just so much easier to use on a day-to-day traffic. I'm in traffic right now, no problem. If I were in my 997, I would be losing it, right? I would be getting really impatient and asking myself one question, which is, why the hell did I choose to drive at this time of the day, at this place? Because I'm just making my life less enjoyable. Whereas here, I feel great. I know that, hey, if there's a car that stops ahead of me, it's going to be easy to navigate. I'm just going to downshift, no problem. So it's a very different world. I also have air conditioning and a radio, and the seat is a lot more comfortable. So there's a lot of things that make this car so much easier to daily. Now, of course, it's tough to have everything in life, right? So could you say that, hey, are you missing a little bit of something from that track experience because it's easier to daily? Well, anyone that says no is just straight up lying, right? Because you can't have a car that's super compliant on the roads, but then also be as good as it can be on the track. It's just not possible, right? You have to, at some point, you have to focus. Now, as a car that has to do everything, which this car for the majority of owners has to do, right? If you're a dentist and you just, you know, bought your first GT3 and you have occasional track days, but you mostly street drive it, right? It has to do everything. It has to get groceries. It has to go do track time, do long road trips. It has to do it all. And as that car, a do-it-all car, I mean, I don't know if it almost hit a big bump. As a do-it-all car, it doesn't get better. It is the benchmark, right? It sets the standard. But there is a little bit of a give, because, you know, I'm loving enjoying this on the road. You know, I'm on a bumpy bit of highway right now, and it's super compliant. I feel comfortable. The car's happy. I'm just cruising in fifth at 49. Like, my car would hate this, but this car is great. Yeah, but is there a bit of a trade-off? Because if I took this on the track right now, would I feel a little less connected to the car because I'm not doing as much work, I'm not putting as much effort in, I'm not getting the, quite as much of a connection as I would with my car? Yeah, but not much, you know. So they've really just broadened the spectrum of like what these cars can do, I guess, is a way to sum up. And it's really impressive. It really is, because this car will destroy a Nürburgring. I think the time is 7:12 for this car on Nürburgring, which is wild, right? Because it wasn't long ago, it was only a few years, that the lap record for a production car was a sub 7, right? 6:58. And that was the GT2 RS, I think. So for the next, for a standard GT3 to do a 712 is quite wild, to be honest. So yeah, they've just broadened the spectrum of what these things can do. And yes, does it come with some compromises? Sure, but at the end of the day, most people aren't looking for the track only weapon that is just purely dedicated. Most owners want the best of all worlds, and that's what you've been given with this car. So the 200,000 price tag that it has, I mean, I don't know what you can, if you had 200,000 and you wanted a car to do everything, like there isn't anything better within 200,000. Like you could have 400,000, you still wouldn't find anything better. So it's in a league of its own. There is no competitor, and it's no wonder why they always have more people wanting to buy these cars than they decide to produce. Now, of course, some of that is to do with a little bit of demand supply manipulation on Porsche's part, their marketing department, whatever. But it's a fantastic car. So we're cruising, we're over the Commodore Barry Bridge, we're going to make our way to 55 and then kind of take it easy down to the beach. And I guess final thoughts, really, what a beautiful car. Totally understand why it costs what it costs. I think that you might not get it until you drive one. You might think that these are overrated. You might think that you could get a better bang for your buck if you go for an M3. You might think that, 500 horsepower isn't that much these days. I need more. You might think a lot of things. But until you sit in this car and you feel what these guys have done to everything about the driving experience, until you feel that firsthand, you're not going to truly get it. And I think that if you enjoy driving, if you enjoy the purity of it, if you enjoy the driver-centric part of it, if you enjoy the fact that, hey, this isn't just a sit back and relax and the car will do everything for you. You're actually going to have to be involved in what's happening out here. If you enjoy that involvement, if you want more of that, if you enjoy what it feels like to feel the mechanical connection by shifting gears and executing a heel-toe downshift into a corner, if you enjoy things like that, you're going to love this car. This car was built for you, and I don't know if anything does it better. I was talking to a friend and I was like, hey, you know what? You could give me this same car with 200 horsepower, not 500. Just take 300 out, give them to somebody else. I would still love this car. It would still have all of the magic to me, because on the street, I'm only using 200 horsepower anyway. So what I'm enjoying here is not the 500. I'm enjoying the driving experience, I'm enjoying the steering, I'm enjoying the shifting, I'm enjoying the noise, all these other things. And to be honest, I might enjoy the experience more with 200 horsepower because I'd be able to rev the fucking thing out. Whereas with 500, I'm just stuck under 4,000 RPMs, even on a beautiful patch of tarmac like this. So, the final thoughts really, if you need a car that does everything, or if you have only one spot in the garage and you have the budget, I don't think there's a better car. I think that, if you could pick any daily, if you could decide to have, any daily in the world, I think you wouldn't go wrong picking this car. What a pleasure. What a pleasure it is to drive. Very fortunate to have this experience, so thank you. I just did a little baby third gear pull and to about 85, and I have to say that was breathtaking. I mean, my heart, that was that you feel that in your soul. You feel that in your soul. That was special. And the noise, it's like it gets very metallic, very S54 like. It gets very metallic up there at 8K, and this has this very raspy kind of high-pitched note. Again, that demonic wail from to steal from Joe Rogan, but that was quite something. I didn't know that was there. Again, it's one of those things like it's very difficult to explain until you feel it for yourself, and then when you do, you know, I mean, your world is forever changed, you know, because now you know that something like that exists, whereas before you didn't.